Now then, Familamo, welcome back to JAZZA'S TV. Today we're going to talk about steroids, performance enhancing drugs. Something that's very taboo. You don't ever hear anyone speaking about it, but it's the elephant in the room, isn't it? What are my thoughts on steroids? Very working class boxing, but it seems the more funds you have, you can enhance your experience in boxing. It becomes less and less working class the higher you go up the ranks, because the more you can use your funds to, you know, use for good reason, good cause, to make yourself better. I get that, I understand that, but drugs, I'm talking about performance drugs. What do we think on performance drugs? I think it's I'll start by saying I understand why it's blanked, why it's ignored so much. We had just recently there Ryan Garcia failed for his test, didn't he? No, he beat Devin Haney, and it turns out that he was on a SAM as he was in the ring. Now, what if Devin Haney got a blood clot in the brain and died? What then? What is that classed as? Is that attempted murder? What would you put that down as? What should the consequences be for that? I'm very passionate about this, by the way. Probably why you might see me go on a rant or two here during this video. But if Devin Haney dies recently, God forbid that happens to anyone in boxing, but it does, and that's why I'm talking about it. Then what happens then, you know, when it comes out that he's on steroids and he was allowed to fight on steroids? Is it because the testing's not good enough? Are the dopers, the cheats, are they evolving with the tests, or we to stay a step ahead of them? That's why we have SAMs now, don't we, and not the old steroids that people use. They change them all the time to get round the test and stuff like that. Obviously, myself and every other fighter must think, oh, well, I do anyway, I can speak for myself. What's it like being on steroids? Do you get like an enhancement out of it? I've took some supplements like some creatine, and I've got benefits out of it, and I know it works because I feel a difference. And I think to myself, wow, if this is just creatine and this is legal, what are they banning? Why are they banning it? Is steroids just make you on a total another level, and the recovery's better, and you can train more, and you can train for longer, and you can start punching harder and faster? Is that the truth? You know what I mean? What goes on there? And it's scary to think about, really, isn't it? It's very, very scary. But what's the that's what steroids look like from the outside, but what does it look like from the inside? That's what people don't talk about. You see the people who got collared and they failed, and they ended up with this pity story because they were sorry. Not sorry because they used them, sorry because they got caught. But the same story all the time. I wish I never used steroids. And then they start talking about what went with it, the mental illness, the is it dependency or is it addiction? You know what I mean? Where's the line between dependency and addiction? Now I need steroids because I'm a different fighter without them. I've been using steroids and now I can't go back to normal. Life will never be the same. The sport will never be the same without me using steroids, because I'll always remember what it felt like. Is that what goes on in the mind of a fighter? Do they get insecure knowing that they're not the same? Do they get insecure knowing the benefits that these other fighters are going to get if they take them? Because if you're using steroids on the basis that you've been told by all these people around you, this is why you should be using them, because everyone's using them. That's how people start selling steroids to you, selling the idea to get into your head. Everyone's using them, that's what they say. And I do believe a lot of the people using them are at the top of the sport. I don't think at the lower ends of the sport are using them. I think the top 10% are using 80% of the steroids. That's what I think. And you probably get these fighters who sacrifice everything, like myself. I train hard, I train as hard as I can, I sleep as good as I can, I sacrifice my family time best as I can, I sacrifice everything, absolutely everything. If there's an edge there for doing something for performance, I do it. And then when you've maxed out on all your performance, little tiny 1%, and you feel like there's nothing left, I suppose that's when fighters are at the top and they go, there's that next 1% there, it's the steroids. And I think that's where fighters get into it, at the top end of boxing, where there's no more 1% left to gain, and there's people around them telling them everyone's doing it, so that's why you should do it. And it can become normalised then, can't it? And that's what the cyclists went through for years. You can see that in cyclists, and in bodybuilding it's almost well known. Don't even bother. If you're not going to do it, if you're not going to use steroids, don't waste your time. And it's sad really, innit? Because that's one thing I think about boxing. Should you have a natural boxing class where people don't use steroids, and then enhanced? I think you should have an enhanced steroid sport, because people are doing it in or out anyway, and the people who don't use steroids can do it for the love of the sport, like people do, and they can do it to call himself a world champion without knowing there's some cheating bastard in there who's trying to rip everything you've worked for away from you, because they're not willing to put their hands out and shake your hand like a man and say the better man won, you know. So even if that was the case, say like we say, okay, we're gonna have a clean version and we're gonna have an enhanced version like bodybuilding, then what? There's gonna be some cheating fucker who still cheats, isn't he, to find a way to cheat, and that's what he's doing anyway, because it is a clean sport, and that's what it should be anyway, and that's what they're doing anyway. So I think there's always going to be people who are insecure who are going to do that. But even that, then, not even the people in the sport, the promoter's going to want to wear, if there's an enhanced boxer, there's an enhanced boxer A and boxer B, it's the same fella, but one's enhanced. Who's the promoter going to want to sign, providing it doesn't come out? Where's the entertainment? Where's the money going to come from? Who are the fans going to pay to watch? You as a fan, me as a fan, am I going to watch the enhanced sport, or am I going to watch the sport that's clean? You're going to get a better sport, aren't you, when it's enhanced? You know what I mean? It's like watching two Mini Coopers racing each other in Formula 1. You're going to watch the Formula 1 cars, aren't you? That's just the way it is. You're going to watch natural bodybuilding or bodybuilding enhanced. You're going to choose that every time, aren't you? So it's mad, isn't it? So it's like we're all to blame really, because we choose to be ignorant, don't we, to the fact that it's going on, and we choose to turn a blind eye. Everyone in the sport turns a blind eye because they don't want to stop it. That's the truth. They don't want to stop steroids. They just don't want it to be seen, and that's why I say it should be allowed, because you could then differentiate between enhanced sport and clean sports a little bit more clearly. You still get the cheating fuckers. Like, one thing I always think to myself is the cheats, right? Is the cheats out there back in the day, world champions who've elevated the sport so much you need to be on this fella's level because he was so good. Is there anyone out there who was on steroids who you think might have been on the shit but never got collared, and he always got away with it, and he was so good and he was at the top of the game, but no one ever copped onto him? Who is there? Is there fighters like that? Who do you think? You know, leave it in the comments below. Who was on the steroids who we just never ever collared, you know? I think there's loads. I've got loads of fighters in mind like that. Some of them to me are quite obvious, and it's obvious once they get collared and you go, how didn't I ever see that? But then when they don't get caught, you're always questioning, you give them the benefit of the doubt, don't you? But you'd even see it with the mentality of the fighter. It's like sometimes when they take these steroids, like Ryan Garcia did recently, they act like a prick. Not everyone can handle confidence, you know what I mean? People get confidence, everyone gets confidence, but you see people who can't handle confidence because they be turning into a prick all the time. They go on the social media, they act like this, and they just can't handle the confidence, you know what I mean? That's what you see a lot of the time with people with steroids. They just want to show it, and they're so insecure, and now they're on the opposite end of the scale because they've got all this confidence and they want to let it out. And you see that a lot of the times, don't you? Some of these fighters, they act like that all the time, and the only way to find out why he's acting like that is sometimes it's just take a drug test and you'll probably find out why. So it comes back to that all the time, doesn't it? Would you watch natural boxing or would you watch enhanced boxing? And I think we know the answer, don't we? So I think we've all got ourselves to blame, and we all want to turn a blind eye, and it's only the fighters who suffer the consequences, who are there getting their heads punched in, getting their brain cells damaged, and the ones who were the honest, integral people, who are the ones who suffer the most, you know. And it's sad really, because that's just the way it is. Didn't mean to be a bit dark on this, but I do think that we need to speak up, you know what I mean? Not everyone wants to speak up because they all want to push it under the rug because it benefits everyone. Would you like to see an enhanced version? Because I know no one will watch the natural version. That's amateur boxing basically, and no one watches that too. So that was my thoughts on performance enhancing drugs, steroids. So yeah, leave in the comments, who do you think was a fake natty? So what are your thoughts? This is a little bit of a more plates, more dates episode, Dwayne. So yeah, What do you think? Who do you think the fake Nazis out there? What are your thoughts on steroids? Should it be allowed? Should it be banned? Should it be all in? Anything goes? What are your thoughts? My beliefs are no, and I live by them beliefs, but I know the world's changing now, so yeah, leave in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe and leave a comment. You have a lovely day, family.